Hello everyone. Sorry for the delay. I don't know what I've done there. Okay. Sorry for the delay in going live, but we just had a few problems. Normally my son does this, and unfortunately I've had to learn how to do it, and B and technology do not really get along, so you see. Just trying to find a way of doing it without making a mess of it. Do you see what I mean? So, yeah. Okay. Welcome everyone. We will wait for people to come in. Right, can you see me there, Tom?
Yeah, I can see you, yeah.
All right, do excuse, I've had to do it on my mobile phone because I just cannot seem to get the hang of the laptop to do it. So we'll just have to go with this. I'd just like to thank everybody for the prayers they've sent out for my daughter. I wonder if I can swipe that, can I? I don't know, I can't see anything now. Oh dear, my daughter's trying to call me now. Okay.
Don't worry, she's only calling for another reason, that's all right.
Oh, okay then. So, yes, I'd like to thank you for the prayers you sent out for my daughter, everyone. And everyone, thank you for joining me tonight. This is only going to be a short live, obviously, because I want to be available if my daughter needs me. But she is making slow progress. There are a couple of setbacks every now and again. Obviously, it's an illness that is a bit unpredictable. But yes, I do thank you for your prayers, and we will see what happens tonight. Yeah, I've got a few people asking me. She's better than she was, but let's just face that, but she's not completely well yet. There are a few setbacks that she has in the evenings, but not been so severe. She's been eating well, and that's good news. So it's a slow process with this illness. You not knowing much about it, you can be on tenterhooks and need to be ready for if she needs you. So it'll be a shorter one than usual, I'm afraid, but we do hope you enjoy it. And my son is here on the computer to ask questions, simply because we've all had to be separated with this coronavirus. So I hope you're enjoying the time to yourselves with lockdown. When we know it will be released, we have no idea. So
yeah, we're just waiting for a few more people because they went to another stream. So
oh yes, sorry about that. I just no good with technology. If my son can teach me later on, but hopefully when things go back to normal, we'll be able to do it in his place again. So he's the only one that knows what he's doing with this. I don't.
Yeah, we got on there eventually, so that's the main thing. We're just going to wait for a few more people to come in.
Greetings from Finland, yes. There won't be any readings tonight, everyone. This will just be questions and answers, basically. So it won't be any readings. If you want a personal reading, you can come to me and sort that out, or you can go through the website and my son will sort you out a date for a reading, but no personal readings on here, I'm afraid. Just questions about the spiritual awakening.
Yeah, we'll get started when you're ready.
Yeah, okay, I'll just turn you up a bit, Tom, so they can all hear you as well. So if my son has anything to say, you'll all be able to hear him. Please let us know if you... Yes, I am quite tired, Karen. You know, it's been a long haul. It's 28 days today, a month. We'll get there. Hope your daughter's doing good. Okay, Tom.
Right, I think we're ready to go. I think most people have made their way over. If not, they can catch up.
Susan said hi, Tom. Can you all hear Thomas, by the way, everyone?
Yeah, they seem to be hearing okay, I think.
That's good, because I've got you literally right next to the speakers, so yeah.
Okay.
So we're ready to go into trance then, yeah?
Yeah, I think so. Everyone's joining.
All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and do it without the music, because I know that certain music you're not allowed to have on here, and there's no one to really adjust the music, or if it's just meditation music. So let's just get rid of that. Someone messaged me. Yeah. Okay, right. Are you all ready?
Yeah, we're ready to go.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening, Jonathan.
Good evening to you, sir. Yes, it is a
Yeah, we
little
are
different
on the
this
phone tonight.
evening.
We've been
Yes.
broken up, but
Well, no matter of it, we are here, aren't we?
yeah, that's it. Yeah. We wanted to bring you over tonight to ask you the reasons why the spirit world or yourself feels we need a spiritual awakening.
Yes. Well, one of the reasons for spiritual awakening are for you to connect to yourself and to our world once again, you see. It is a sort of a little reminder of where you came from, and you live in human worlds, you live in human society, and you carry on as you do, but some of you forget that there are other existences beyond your world, and we want you to know that they are there. So the reason for the spiritual awakening is the fact that spiritual awakening is not just associated with that, it is all connected with unconditional love as well as the connection with our world. So the spiritual awakening has many phases to it, you see. It has a test where you go through a particularly testing time of the dark time, and then from that you will go to many other phases during the spiritual awakening where you will question things and you will wonder what is happening to you. You will wonder the reasons why it has to happen, and you start to question all of that until you have a total spiritual connection with yourself. It is about going back within to yourself, you see. You will go through the maze of life and you will live a human existence, but then sometimes it gets a little too human and you seem to forget about your spiritual side of yourself. So many of you will experience different things with a spiritual awakening. Some of you will begin to perhaps see visions. Some of you will experience seeing different number sequences that will give you signs for other messages from the spirit. there are many different ways to experience it. Some of you may experience vibration from within your being, which is where your body will vibrate. Many different ways to wake up spiritually. But the reason is that we have noticed in our world that you have all not been having time for one another. You see, you say, well, we are so busy with our lives, we don't have time to connect with each other. So this wasn't particularly done on purpose in order for people to suffer. Many people chose to go to the other side in mass, you see, for the reasons being that they also wanted to teach the earth about unconditional love, so they chose to go home in mass. And so you have what you call the mass exodus. And many people are passing to the spirit world each and every day, but nobody notices that. You see, they don't really have it on their news speaking, they don't really notice it. It is happening every second of every day. And there are incarnations happening every second of every day, but it is not particularly recorded for everyone to experience. It is just something that happens without you even notice it. But this had to come to a point where everybody would stop and take stock, and everybody would notice that something different was going on. The truths had to come out in your world, and they are going to come out. And there is going to be all of you coming together and being at peace with one another, and the earth actually being at peace itself too.
Okay, see, you say about we need to obviously slow down a little bit. Is there any other reasons how we treat each other? And
that is right. The way that you are perceiving life to be, the way that you are treating one another, yes, we see that there is a lot of negative going on in the world, and it has to have negative alongside positive in order for you to coexist together. So you see, sometimes the negative gets a little out of balance, and it tends to try and go into the positive a little bit more and overtake it. So it needs rebalancing again, you see, and that is happening at the present time. But I should think that if you're all going to stop and experience something so profound all over the world, does that not tell you something? It is teaching you how to come back to your families, how to come back to yourself, and find unconditional love with all of them and each other.
okay, to reach a spiritual awakening, do we always have to go through a negative first, or what we perceive to be a negative?
Yes, you do. You go through what you call the dark day, you see. And many people will be tested in their lives before they have a spiritual awakening. They go through a dark period in their lives where they perhaps come to a dead end in their lives, as a full stop, and they don't know where they're going, they cannot find their path, and they look in all sorts of directions to find out where their self is going to be. But if they go within, it is already there. It's just a matter of knowing how to go within, isn't it? Just a matter of knowing what is around you, how to appreciate it, and how to love yourself.
Okay, do spiritual awakenings happen often, or is it just a once in a generation thing, or once every couple 100 years? Do that happen on a smaller scale as well?
It would happen on many scales. It would happen with an individuality. It would happen with a group of people. It could also happen in a great mass. So you see, not all viruses are about spiritual awakening. Some of them are just particular viruses that are able to evolve and travel from human to human. And unfortunately, it would take one's life, and others would survive. But there is something different about this one, isn't there? And many of you would perhaps have felt it. Some of you would be angry and bored and stay at home, and you would think, well, I want to get out. I want to go out. I'm human. I need to go outside. And you would say, well,
Yeah,
I feel a little bit trapped in here. But if you take stock and look at what is around you within your house, maybe you are on your own, or maybe you are with your families. You have time for each other now, don't you? You've all been complaining that you haven't had time. Look at the time you got now.
yeah, definitely. I think a lot of us are having a lot of time to ourselves at the moment to reflect. Is there any questions from people on the chat? We've got one here. Did the souls that are leaving now choose us before they incarnated?
Yes, they would have done. Every single soul that incarnates to this earth will choose the lifetime that they have, and then they will choose when they pass.
Okay, one from Shane. Is the earth healing as we go through this process?
Yes, there is. Because if you look at the earth, look at your animals, they're all venturing out. Where you would normally venture, they are now venturing and feeling a little freer. They are becoming a little more inquisitive and thinking, well, where have all the people gone? We're allowed to roam free. They are losing their shyness and coming out and feeling at peace because the humans have hidden away from them.
Okay, what advice would you give to people who are going through a tough time, worrying about family? See, some people have got family members ill, or if not, worried about vulnerable family members.
I would say spend less time worrying and spend more time appreciating that they are there with you at that present time. Where did worry ever get anybody? If you're going to think negative and think, well, they may get the virus, then you are actually drawing that energy to you to encourage you to come there. If you think to yourself, well, that person is going to be with me for a period of time, or I'm going to go and check on them and see how they are, imagine them being perfectly fine. You see, even if they are not feeling well, they have other ailments that you are worrying about that may slightly weaken them, make them more vulnerable. Do not think about them getting the virus. Think about them being as they are and being happy and settled. Do not worry yourself about it because you only invite it to you.
Someone's asked, Kate has asked, will this change the world as we know it? Like things like employment, travel, people's choice of food, use of medicines?
I think that people will become more aware of themselves and what they're actually doing with their health. Health is going to be a big part in this. You're all, well, not all of you, but I think the majority of you will appreciate your health and you will begin looking to ways of improving your health, your eating habits, your mind health, and such, and ways that you go about treating people. You will perhaps become less selfish and you will want to help people that are in a terrible situation and they haven't got anybody to help them, you see. So have you noticed more people are coming about to help which they wouldn't have done before, perhaps? So there's less selfishness, less greed, and if you're all indoors, there's going to be less crime.
Yeah, we have seen a large drop in crime. How about travel? Do you think our ideas of travel will change? Do you think we'll appreciate homelands more, a little bit more?
I think that in the way of travel, there's going to be a little bit of nervousness about traveling out of one's country, because there's still going to be a little bit of nervousness about the virus that may be lingering in other countries. They haven't perhaps come forward as much as your particular country, and vice versa, you see. So travel is going to be a little bit of a nervousness for a while, and I think that if people want to perhaps get out and take a break, then they're going to think more of being in their own place for a little while until things settle down.
We've got a lot of people asking about the 5G. Is this something we should be worried about?
I think that people are worrying too much about these things. I know that I'm going to be getting a little bit of conflict here, but we see things as they are, you see. You've got your communications now, and you have your, what you call your 4G, isn't it? And that is just lesser than the 5, so the 5 is more powerful. and anything, and quite a lot of things on your Earth will emit some sort of radiation from it. So your
Yeah.
computers, your mobile telephones, your telecommunications, in some way, they will send out signals which are going to emit some sort of radiation. This is what people are worried about, that this 5G is going to emit far more radiation than what the previous one did. And so I think that it's not going to have a severity where you're going to drop dead beside it, but I think that you will find that your birds, you see, they go by extrasensory perception of where they're going to be traveling, and when this emits the signals, it somewhat confuses them and they go in the wrong direction, and this is why they are ending up starvation and all sorts of disorientated feelings within these birds. You've got to understand they are much smaller than the humans, so they are more able to be susceptible to these things. But yes, it will emit some sort of a signal of radiation, but it's not going to be killing you instantly. So if it was going to do that, it would have happened already. But I would say that it's not particularly a good thing.
No.
And I think that they're seriously going to have to think about it. And you may find that there will be discussions about this situation, and there are going to be somewhat complaints about it all over the place. So yes, they're going to seriously have to think about what they're doing here and where they're going to be putting these masts, you see.
A lady named Pauline wanted to ask a question for a personal reason. She asked, is someone in an induced coma aware of what is going on around them?
I would say that they have some sort of perception that something is going on around them. It all depends on how deep the coma is, you see. When you're going into a coma, sometimes your brain can be put in a state of limbo. So you're neither here nor there. You're in a deep state of mindset where they will sort of cut out part of your mindset and thinking so that your mind can be resting. But if you're going to have an out-of-body experience during that, then yes, there will be some sort of visual effect of floating above the body and perhaps getting back in again. It all depends on how one is going to perceive that to be. There are many experiences with being in a coma, and a lot of people can hear, yes. If perhaps music is played to them, they are able to hear it. They may be able to hear you speaking to them. So there is somewhat of a consciousness there, isn't there? It all depends on how deep the coma is.
Okay, also, with work, obviously, we've become an extremely fast world where some people working 6-7 days a week. Do you think people will possibly reassess that?
Yes, they will reevaluate their lives and the time that they have to spend with themselves and with their families. They will go back to some sort of normality and begin to miss what they previously had and begin to appreciate it. But they would understand that it cannot be a permanency due to the economy. And if you were to stay in that position forever, you could not simply function in your world in that way. You would need to go back to some sort of normality in order for the economy to exist and to function. And so therefore you are going to have many people thinking, well, I'm going to change my hours or perhaps change my employment so that I can be allowed to spend more time with my family and benefit from earning as well, you see. So there's going to be a lot of thinking about that.
What happens in the spirit world at a time like this? Does anything change for you, or is it pretty much just the same?
Well, we are actually overjoyed that you're all coming together and that there is peace, there is less crime, you see. We know that it's all about the awakening. And I did mention it before, as you know. So you see, the world is sort of in a limbo at the moment, isn't it? But You will come out of it. It's not going to be like it forever, I will assure you of that, because it would be impossible to stay like it. But yes, people are going to be wary. But you will soon be getting back to some sort of normality. And I think a lot of you will think of life a little differently to what you did before. You will have a lot of people that are spending much time together that will get to know each other and get to know a side of each other that they didn't know existed. They didn't have time to see it exist. When you are shut in one particular area of the house and you're spending a lot of time together, you get to know each other more. So some of you may find that you don't really like what you see, and others may get closer together and begin to appreciate one another.
Okay, thank you, Jonathan. I think we might have to wrap it up there, so my mum can get back to Louise if she ends up needing her.
Yes, I will say that Louise, the healing is going well, and that she will make good progress. And everyone would need to know that this illness is very somewhat unpredictable, and most of you will survive it. I will say that not all are going to go to spirit. The world will carry on. Man will be able to find a particular solution to this problem. But you would need to know that, as well as human evolvement, that viruses are able to evolve as well as humans. Everything in your physical world that is of a living nature can evolve.
Okay, all right. Well, we'll wrap it up there.
Yes.
If anyone wants to see the last video, hasn't seen it, where we originally spoke about what's going on in the world at the moment, I'll leave the link in the video. And thank you, Jonathan.
You are most welcome, sir. Yes, I will bring Elaine out of the trance now so that she can say a good night to you all. God bless you all.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, everyone. We hope to do another one sometime, hopefully when my daughter's a little bit more better and I'm less tired. But thank you all for joining us, and I'd like to thank my son for putting it all together and helping me. I can't see around the words, but I don't know how to put them aside. But yes, have a lovely evening, everyone, what's left of it, and we hope to see you on here again soon. And hopefully that will help you during the lockdown. I know some of you will be a little bit bored and fed up, but the time soon passes. So just enjoy your time together and learn to appreciate each other, even though you might get on each other's nerves sometimes. But it's nice to have somebody there with you. People that are alone will probably find it a little harder, but I'm sure they'll get through it. So take care and keep healthy and well, everyone, and look after yourselves, all right? And anyone that needs healing out there, well, may they receive it today and always. Okay? Love you all, and speak to you again soon. Good night. I have no idea how I log out of here, but maybe my son will tell me.
Yeah, you just have to go and live streaming at the bottom of that.
I don't know how to do that. No. Okay, everyone, just bear with me. Nope.